Hello everyone, welcome to the March 25th Call of Duty DFS Slate breakdown. This video is coming out super late, only about an hour and a half before lock, so it's going to be a super quick video, not much to go in depth and stuff. So we have a pretty interesting slate here, one we've kind of looked forward to a little bit, at least for me. Off the rip, I'm a little surprised that LA Thieves are this much of a favorite over LAG. LA Thieves have not been looking good at all this Major 2, this is the second set of qualifiers here. I've not been impressed with them that much at all. LAG is a super volatile team. I could see this going 3-0 LA Thieves pretty easily as well. But just based off of recent form and kind of what we've seen from these teams right off the jump, that was something that kind of stuck out to me. And the line has actually been moving towards the LA Thieves. If memory serves, I actually think LA Thieves were like a minus 180 or something a day or two ago. So that's pretty interesting. But mainly the thing that to talk about, of course, is going to be Bocage, the Bocage watch. We've talked about this many times. I'm sure you guys are already on the same page here. Coming down into the, I'm not sure whose spreadsheet this is, unfortunately, but yeah, they have some predictions here as well. I kind of agree with some of them and kind of agree with, disagree with some. They have Bocage being banned in both of these first two series. I'm not entirely sure. We could check and see. I'll check on my second monitor while I talk, but I'm not sure if the maps are actually out for this series yet. I don't think they will. They're usually about 30 minutes before lock, so we're not going to spend too much time talking about Legion versus Ultra. I think this one is actually kind of close, more specifically in those respawn game modes. So if we look at the team stats pretty quickly here, Toronto Ultra versus Paris Legion. Set it to probably, I'm going to have it just set to Major 2. I know this is probably not a great sample size, but I don't know, it's like enough. But I think overall the kind of thing here, I think, is Toronto just is not very good in the respawn game modes. I think it opens up some possibilities for Paris to make this series somewhat close. I mean, again, Toronto's a minus 550 favorite. I think Toronto should win the series, but it's a little closer, I think, than maybe it feels. The main difference here is Paris has played really bad teams. They got reverse swept back to back by London and Minnesota. Those are kind of tough. Got swept by LAG. They lost to New York even. Toronto, on the other hand, they beat Minnesota. They've lost to Atlanta and Boston in Game 5. So these are pretty decent there for Toronto. Again, I think the map 3 is going to be very one-sided for Toronto. But it mainly comes down to those respawns again, map 1, 3, and 4. I think they're going to be Toronto favored. That's going to be a lookout for me if this is going to be pretty Bocage dependent, because it's very hard to justify these Toronto price tags if we're not going to see a Bocage. For these set of predictions, they have Legion banning Bocage. I don't know if that's going to happen necessarily. It's kind of up in the air. If we look at recent bans, we see that they've been banning Gavutu hardpoint pretty consistently. That's 4 in a row. I don't see a reason for them to really ban the Bocage. They've actually been like decent on it, and I think it's a more open style map where you can get some upsets. Toronto's been kind of banning a little bit of everything. But I only say that I feel like they've only banned Bocage because it's FaZe's best map. And I don't think they're going to be scared of Legion on Bocage. And if Legion banned the Gavutu, then I could definitely see Toronto picking Bocage. So I think it's a possibility in this series. I don't necessarily agree with whoever's kind of spreadsheet this is and their kind of look at it. I definitely don't. I think it's a possibility, but again, this is the first series. We'll have to wait and see. If it does come down to the Bocage, sorry, my throat's killing me a little bit here, but the players we're kind of looking to, I don't know, it's a little tough. again, this one feels like Toronto. It could be like anyone at any point. That's kind of the thing. I'm probably just Xing out Toronto if there is no Bocage, but if there is Bocage, then we can look and see who's been playing well for them on the Bocage. That'll be a pretty big indicator. So Bocage hardpoint, we have Cammy, who's 34 and 31. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good start there. Bance, 30 and 34. He's been falling down a little bit. That's not very good. Insight, 26 and 28. We definitely don't need that. Kleenex, 35 and 35, but we know he's a action-packed, aggressive submachine gun player, so he's somebody I'd want to get in there as well. So for Toronto, if there is Bocage, I think Cammy and Kleenex would probably be the two that I'd aim for. I know Cammy's numbers in control aren't that great, but I feel like that's not that telling of his skill set. I think for pricing, they're pricey. That's kind of what it comes down to. Is if there is Bocage, I think they do have a lot of good upside here. I do think Kleenex, especially at 86, maybe Bance at 72. I mean, they are going against a pretty weak team here, so I think that's fine as well. I think all the Toronto players are live, but if I'm picking my favorites here, I would say Kleenex probably 1, Cammy 2, Bance would probably be like the third man in, or maybe like a more value name. Insight at 92, he does have some upside, but if we're playing Toronto because there is going to be a Bocage and Insight's numbers aren't that great on Bocage, it feels a little counterintuitive when you think about it that way. So just be on the lookout. I'll have to tweet it out. It should be out 30 minutes before lock, so maybe an hour or so after this video's up. Keep an eye out for the picks and bans for there, and we'll see if there's Bocage in Toronto. LA Thieves versus LAG. Again, this one is actually pretty interesting to me. I'm honestly not entirely sure what LA Thieves have done to kind of garner this much respect. So we look at their major 2. We can see they're 0-3. They have played they played Texas, and that's oddly enough like one of their closer series. I just haven't been impressed with them at all this major 2. They were looking a little confused. Again, I'm not too sure what to expect from vetoes. When we look at the vetoes, at least this guy's predictions, he has Thieves banning Bocage. I could definitely see that. When we go to look at their previous bans, it's been in there. I'm not entirely sure. Again, this one feels a little up in the air. I'd probably guess that one of these two teams do end up banning the Bocage. LAG have been banning it a couple times. Thieves have been banned it recently, more so on LAN when they banned it against most of these teams here. I think it's likely we get the Bocage ban probably from one of these two teams. I think the odds are that one of these teams is just going to probably ban it out. I'm not sure. When it comes down to it, though, it's like if you ban your other team's best map, you're both going to end up on a map you don't really like that much, and that could be the Bocage situation. I'm honestly not sure because we know LA Thieves are trying to get onto the Gavoo 2 hardpoint. They've been playing some Berlin. LAG is probably feeling fine on the Berlin. I don't know. It probably ends up getting banned, but it's not a certainty for me. With that said, I think either way, I'm kind of leaning towards the LAG underdogs here. I'm just so confused on the pricing on this. I feel like we just have not seen much from LA Thieves. Again, I do think they do have a lot of upside. I do think they're relatively cheap as well. But I'm going to let everyone else take the shot there on LA Thieves. We're getting some really, really cheap price tags on the LAG side, especially ASIM and Gunless 76 and 68 there. Hookah 84. I think those are all fine plays. They're probably a pretty good stack option for me just because they're cheap. They're going to make it in some of my builds, but probably not going to be too crazy on them because we're not sure on the Bocage. I think it's pretty unlikely, but it is a possibility. I would put Bocage percentage probably at 30% or so. And again, this is the second series, so we're not going to be able to know the picks and bans of this one beforehand. So I'd be fine loading up on them a little bit. When we look at the names, it's going to be probably those ones I mentioned. Probably Asim, Hook, Gunless. I think Slasher is definitely the one you want to leave off. His engagements are really low. He's been such a low impact player. His numbers actually have been a little bit better as of late when we're looking specifically at this major two qualifiers, the second set of qualifiers here. His numbers are actually relatively decent. I just don't know how sustainable that is necessarily, and not something I want to be a part of really. So I'm gonna continue going with the players I feel like are gonna match more what we're looking for long term. So give me the LAG underdog here. Again, this price is super weird. I'm not understanding why LAG is this big of an underdog here. I think this is a pretty close matchup. Um, but this transitions us well into the third series, Atlanta FaZe versus Florida Mutineers. I think again, this one is actually really, really likely to be Bocage, and that's kind of what it comes down to for me. I'm sure you guys are well aware, and if you're watching this, you probably know, what we're looking for. Both of these teams love Bocage. As a matter of fact, that's the only hardpoint map Florida's played so far. I would reckon Atlanta FaZe ban Berlin. I think that's been their permaban. Map vetoes. Nope, series vetoes. I like this style better. Where's Atlanta FaZe at? Yeah, they're gonna ban the Berlin when it comes to Florida. Florida Mutineers. Did I see them earlier? What am I looking at? Oh, here they are. Tuscan has been their ban, so we're looking at Berlin ban for FaZe. Probably the Mutineers are gonna ban Tuscan. That leaves us with Bocage and Gavutu, I guess. Again, I think either way, hopefully we get the Bocage. Hopefully it's map one. Hopefully whoever picks first just picks out the Bocage. Um, Again, I think Bocage, again, it matters so much. Yeah, I'm willing to do a game stack on this one. I know typically in esports it's heavily avoided. Um, but specifically when you look at the numbers here, so Florida's actually been pretty good in control. Atlanta's been not that great in control. I think Florida's been playing pretty well lately. They do have a 0-3 against Optic Texas, which is a little concerning, but Atlanta hasn't been looking that stellar either. Specifically when you look over at just like a couple of these players have been playing. Simp and Abizi's numbers are down a little bit. Again, I think taking long-term form and going back to those guys is definitely fine. I definitely am leaning that way as well. But I mean, they barely got the 3-2 over Toronto. They got the 3-1 over London. Like they haven't been like 3-0ing people. I think they're looking relatively beatable. And I think Florida has actually been looking decent enough to make the series somewhat competitive. So I think we see at least the fourth map here. So with that said, you guys kind of know how I've been preaching for a while. It doesn't matter who wins the series if you see that fourth map. All that matters is you need decent numbers. And we've definitely been seeing decent numbers from Awakening on the Bocage. 34 and 28, those are pretty impressive numbers. We check out somebody like Dave Patty, 28 and 26. Those are decent numbers as well. Skies, 31 and 30. Who's the other one? Vivid. His numbers are going to be crazy. 36 and 34. So some of these numbers, I do worry a little bit about going. I think you can get to somebody like Vivid and Dave Patty. I think they're going to be super cheap. Probably super low owned as well because people, again, don't want to do game stacks and that stuff. But I think for the most part, I'm actually going to, it's going to depend on the map, the veto release of the first series, Toronto Paris. If there is no Bocage in Toronto Paris, I'm going to end up just game stacking Atlanta, Florida as my main lineup, as crazy as it sounds, because I think it's going to be a completely unique build. And I do think the upside and stuff is there. And I'm just willing to take that shot. I think this is going to be a pretty close series. I think there's going to be a heavily contested Bocage. And I like the upside and the numbers that we've seen from both sides here. Again, I do kind of worry that FaZe stomp Florida. It's a slight concern, but I mean, it's a risk I'm willing to take. I know for a fact I'm going to be the only one with a Florida Atlanta stack in the $33, for example. So I don't know. I want to put my ideas and put my guts, and I want to put my theory to the test here, and I want to put real money on it. I want to see how that works, see how it looks like. Hopefully, we'll see the Matt Vito's for Toronto Paris. Hopefully, it doesn't go through an LAG LAT, but I'll have some exposure in elsewhere for their LAG. But for the most part, I'm just going to be having a game stack of Atlanta, Florida. Again, when we look at the stats so far, from these players and these teams, Awakening's numbers have been absolutely astronomical. He's looking like one of the top 5 players at the moment. Like, just based off recent form, he's been absolutely crazy. He needs some help from somebody. Where he gets it from, I'm not necessarily sure, but I think when it comes down to the bocage, I think getting somebody like Vivid, that insanely aggressive SMG player, I don't necessarily know if Vivid is going to go positive. Hopefully, if he does manage to do so, he's going to be putting up really big numbers as well. We could see Vivid dropping like 50 kills or something like crazy like that. So I think those are probably my 2 biggest options. I would say Awakening and Vivid, but Vivid and Dave Patty are pretty close. The only difference maker there is Dave Petty does have a little bit better numbers. However, Vivid's engagement numbers are so much higher. So if we do see a positive performance from Vivid at those levels of engagement, he can have like Slate breaking upside. So that's why I like leaning towards him. Taking the like overs there, I think is a good idea. So that's my lean. I'm just gonna do a game stack of Florida, Atlanta again. I guess when I'm picking names from the other side. Although when we do look at these numbers, our cities has been towards the top end. That's only with one bocage in mind, and our city's numbers on bocage have been pretty poor. We can take a look at that as well. So our cities on bocage is 28 and 28. If we compare that to Celium, 32 and 22, that is that is like laughably great. Simp is 33 and 28. A BZ 32 and 29, so not great, but we know his upside. So I'm fine with leaving off our cities. I think other people might end up getting baited by him. I'm not sure, but I just want to go back to the tried and true 3 Atlanta boys. I like going with Celium, a BZ Simp, bringing it back with Awakening, bringing it back with Vivid or Dave Patty, and letting it fly there. I could honestly see myself maybe making a small lineup where we go with Florida stack. Just get Awakening, Dave Patty, Vivid, go crazy. And maybe bring it back with like a couple of Atlanta guys. I'm not sure. That's definitely an option. I just like going pretty ham on this series. Again, we've stressed it enough. You guys, I'm sure, are right there with me. We just want bocage. We just want bocage. We just want bocage. I think Florida, Atlanta is pretty much a lock to have bocage. The other 2 series are unlikely. So we'll see the picks and bans for Toronto, Paris, and all we need to do is fade a bocage and LAG, LAT, and I think we're on our way to setting up in a good performance here. So that's where I want to go. I think either way, somebody like Awakening at 78 is super, super underpriced. Even if you do want to get like 2 Atlanta and then Awakening or something, doing like a small-ish game stack like that and then having your other lineup, like the rest of the lineup, be normal, I think that's fine for sure. I think that makes sense. But either way, that's probably going to be the end of this one. I need to get this uploaded quickly either way, so that'll be it for me. Keep an eye out on Twitter. Probably I'll try to tweet it out, but if not, just try to search through Twitter looking for the Toronto Paris picks and bans. It should be out there about 30-45 minutes before lock, and we'll have a good idea of where to go with the slate. So that's going to be my game plan. I'm going to have Florida Atlanta stacks, specifically if Toronto Paris does not have bocage. If there is bocage, and then I'm going to get a little bit of Toronto in there as well. But I think either way, I'm loading up on Florida Atlanta. I think getting that bocage in there is going to be good. I think it's going to be a relatively close series where we can have a lot of fantasy points on both sides. So I just want to load up on that. I do think even if Florida loses a series, I think they can have some great scoring numbers. I do think, the bocage matters that much. So that's going to be my game plan of loading up on Florida Atlanta, game stacking and stuff, getting weird that way. Mixing and matching a little bit LAG, getting a little bit of Toronto. If Toronto has bocage, if not, if there's no bocage in that first series, I'm leaving it alone. I'm just going to mix and match LAG, Florida, and Atlanta. So that's going to be my game plan for the day. Hopefully you guys, have something set out similar, and we can win some money. So that's going to be the goal today. And best luck to you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully for a regular video. Just had a little bit of a interesting past couple days, but should be back to normal somewhat. So I'll see you guys then.